It's the last day of May and the rainy season is just right around the corner. We find out more about diseases that are common during wet conditions with infectious disease specialist, Dr. Alex Juson. Doc Alex, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us on The Final Word.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
So Doc, share with us, how will this rainy season affect our health?
Okay, so during the rainy seasons, of course, when we cross over from summer, which is very hot, to now we experience rains more or less during the afternoon, there will be changes in temperature, and some of us will not be able to tolerate the changes in temperature. And during the rainy seasons, we tend to congregate or uh, share the same place. That's why more of the communicable diseases are rampant during the rainy seasons.
So what are these communicable diseases during the rainy season, Doc?
So the more common will be the usual upper respiratory tract infection. So some will have fever, cough and colds, or some flu-like symptoms. And after rainy seasons, there will be flooding. Then here comes the leptospirosis, the dengue, among others.
So how should we protect ourselves from these communicable diseases, Doc?
Okay, so we're still in the pandemic. So wearing masks and avoiding crowded places, wherein many people you see will having some cough and cold. So stay away from them. Of course, you wear masks; it will protect you. Avoid flooding. Avoid flooded places if you may. But you can also protect yourself by wearing boots if ever you need to go on a flooded area. When it comes to mosquitoes, so we can apply mosquito repellent, and of course, we check on our houses, our environment, try to maintain them clean.
What about daily doses of multivitamins, Doc?
Okay, so multivitamins may help us, especially those who the elderlies or the very young population who cannot actually get the usual or the optimal doses of vitamins. Okay, but however, if you're a normal person, no other diseases, and you are able to get the nutrition that you need from your daily diet, it will not be necessary for you to take mega doses of vitamin C.
And what about the rainy season affecting our sources of food and water? Is there an impact there?
Okay. Of course, there is. So whenever there will changes in temperature, so a very hot morning, then will be rain in the afternoon. So the humidity of the environment will make the food, the food to get spoiled easily compared to in the previous stable temperatures. No, so some people will not be that very cautious in taking food, so they can catch diarrheal diseases. And of course, if there will be flooding, they can contaminate our water sources as well.
You mentioned about some waterborne diseases such as leptospirosis. What are the initial causes and symptoms when we are impacted by these waterborne diseases, Doc?
Okay, so leptospirosis is a disease usually from exposure to rats. Okay, the rats, whenever there will be flooding, so the rats, are can be found in the esteros, okay, in the creeks, and then whenever they will urinate, the leptospira may contaminate the flood waters, and then they will enter the skin. It can be an intact skin, or more vulnerable or increased risk will be those who have open wounds. Then they will get into the body and cause leptospirosis. The general initial symptoms will be very non-specific. So some will the usual flu-like symptoms, fever. Some will have body pains, also have muscle pains, and some will have abdominal pain. So initial phase of the disease will not be very telltale of the leptospirosis. So any febrile episode, fever fever, with the exposure to flood, one should always be observant to consult a doctor.
Thank you so much for these very important medical advice, especially now during the rainy season. Dr. Alex Juson, Infectious Disease Specialist.